Browns have a decision to make. Nick, is Baker Mayfield costing himself money with his mediocre season?
Well, yes, but not to the degree I think a lot of people believe. He is certainly putting himself out of contention to get the deal Josh Allen got. But he is, as long as the Browns continue winning, as long as the Browns make the playoffs, and I think everyone believes they will, he is going to get a contract extension of around $40 million per year after the season. Now, will it be $45 million? Will it touch Josh Allen? Probably not. So he's costing himself, maybe 10 to 15% of what the total upside could be. But more importantly than Baker's bank account, he needs to play better for the Browns to be able to reach their full potential. The numbers are jarring. Fewer than 250 yards per game, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, a passer rating that doesn't look terrible if you don't remember that these days passer ratings are about 20 points higher than they were just 5, 8, 9 years ago. So he must play better. Right now they are leaning on that defense tremendously. And Broussard, Wildes mentioned Brandon. Confession to the audience. I got a text from Brandon yesterday. I didn't even open it. I don't know what it says because I know what it says. It's about Baker Mayfield and him taunting me about Baker Mayfield. Sorry, Brandon, if you're watching. Didn't read it, won't respond to it till Baker plays better. But he's got to play better, especially with their 2 games coming up, 2 very tough games coming up where they're going to need that defense and the offense to produce.
I'm with you, Nick, on him eventually getting paid. I would say he's delaying his big payday. Look, the Browns aren't moving on from Baker Mayfield unless they could somehow trade him for a better quarterback. All right, he has led them to the playoffs for the first time in 18 years. He has led them to a playoff victory for the first time in 26 years. Just think about what the Browns were a couple years ago. I mean, this franchise was in the dumps, and he's not elite, and I don't think he'll ever be elite. He's not a great quarterback. He's a good quarterback. And what the Browns are clearly doing right now, Nick, I really believe they're trying to maximize his rookie deal so they can add the pieces around a good but not great quarterback so maybe they can win a Super Bowl with that quarterback because he's not making a ton of money. So they picked up his option for next year. So I'm not so sure. I mean, I get it that the extension would kick in later, but they may not come to an extension next year. They may just let him play out his 5th-year option. They obviously can franchise him for a year, maybe 2 if they like, and then by then they'll really have a grasp of, okay, is he going to get better and I don't think he'll be elite, but keep improving? Can we win with him on this rookie deal? Or do we need to go ahead and pay him the big extension? So I just think he's delaying it, Wildes. He's going to get paid because Cleveland's not moving on. But he won't. He's not an elite quarterback. He's a good one.
Yeah, so I buy most of that, Broussard. But when you say Cleveland's not moving on, the little bird on my shoulder is just whispering at me, like, are you 100% sure, Wildes? And I'm like, yeah, they're not going to move on. Like, are you 100% sure? We saw Matthew Stafford go out there. He's doing well. We saw Tom Brady leave. He's playing well. We know there's some superstar quarterbacks that are unhappy, like Russ and Aaron Rodgers in their current situations. I'm going to move it up from 100% to 99%. Open the door a little bit that the Browns do sort of like look around if there are superstars out there. Oh, Jimmy G might be available too. Okay, Nick, I want to get your take on this because I hate to subscribe to media narratives, although I am in the media and love narratives. What do we make of this stat? He had that one really terrible throw that we can show. And I know it's just sort of a narrative. Oh, they don't get along. There's no chemistry. I'm like, all right. At this point, you got stats to back it up too. I don't want to pile on Baker or OBJ, but when you see those numbers, it makes me think there is something up. What's your take on it?
Well, my take on it is in their first game back together, not this past week, but the week before, they had a really good connection. And so a lot of those numbers are misleading in this regard. It has to do with last year and the season before. And the season before obviously was Baker's worst year. It was the Freddie Kitchens season from hell. So I think those numbers are going to continue to look bad because they're weighted so heavily to the past, if you will. However, what I will say is Baker's biggest weakness as far as throws are deep and outside the numbers. And that throw we saw right there, that's where Odell, his elite route running and his elite hands can really hurt you. So I don't think they're going to have a Mahomes to Tyreek type of connection. I think Baker's always going to be more of a running backs and tight ends quarterback and guys, slot receivers who go over the middle. It's one of the reasons he and Jarvis went so well is Jarvis wasn't going deep so much as he was in the intermediate where Baker excels more. But I don't think, Jenna, the play is actually as bad as the numbers suggest in totality.
Yep. Broussard, what do you make of that from Nagy?
Well, look, some people might think I'm down on Matt Nagy because he's the only person who's been under duress for 2 times. He's the only one that's been a multiple appearee on the under duress list. But I actually think there is some rationale to this that makes sense. All right, we know Nagy needs to win games, all right, to save his job, for his job security. They're 2-2, so even though they don't look like a very good team, they can say we're still very much alive in the playoff race. I know it's a long way to go, but our season is far from over. So they want to win games. And Justin Fields, if you name him the starting quarterback right now, and he continues to play poorly, he's really playing poorly, let's just admit it, and you are losing games and losing a chance to maybe be a wild card team because of it, and you benched him and put in Dalton, now it becomes incredibly negative. All right, the narrative is that, it's another Ohio State quarterback who's a bust. It may hurt Justin Fields' psyche because he would have been benched. But if you leave it open like Dalton's our starter, and Justin comes out next week and plays another bad game, maybe they lose, and you go to Dalton, then it's not a benching. It's just Justin's continuing to develop. We told you he wasn't ready. He's continuing to develop. This is no cause for alarm. He's going to be great one day. But Dalton is better right now. And Dalton is better right now. Dalton's not even a good quarterback anymore.
I totally disagree.
But he's better than Justin. He's better, Nick. Come on.
No,
right now.
Justin Fields made 4 throws in that game against Detroit that Andy Dalton hasn't made in 4 years. They're going to listen, the Bears are bad no matter who their quarterback is. Their next 4 is Vegas, Green Bay, Tampa, and San Francisco. Their best case scenario, no matter who their quarterback is 1-3. They're probably 0-4. The way you get better at football is playing football. And the Bears do not have the explosive playmakers to score enough points with the Andy Dalton dink and dunk offense. We had Allen Robinson say it after week 1 or week 2 where he's like, well, it's hard. We're only running 10 yards and we're not running past the sticks. Show the spray charts. Andy Dalton week 1, Justin Fields week 4. Andy Dalton, that's a lot of green. Yeah, all at the line of scrimmage, scored 14 points. Justin Fields, those 4 passes, 20-plus yards down the field, Andy Dalton can't make those anymore. And okay, so yeah, they're going to, guess what, Wilds? The Bears are going to lose to bad teams good teams all year. They're not a good team themselves. Justin, they scored 24 points in that game against the Lions. Justin Fields made some elite level throws. You go with it. Andy Dalton's not good. It's not a Jimmy Garoppolo situation. Andy Dalton stinks.
Once they're clearly out of it, go with Justin. But right now, they're still trying to win, Nick, and I don't blame them.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.